Hello, everybody. Well, Buck Dave, one more time, episode 195 of Two Old Bucks, as we approach the magic 200 episode number. And approaching with me is none other than
Yeah, old Buckdell.
Buck Dale. Welcome back. How's it going?
Well, I am glad you asked. I thought this morning I thought I made a major accomplishment, and for all our old Buck listeners and the vintage vixens, uh, I thought I said to myself, I said, "This is quite amazing," and you're going to say, "Well, what did you do?" So amazing.
What did you do? What was amazing?
I opened a jar of pickles, and I said, it was all I could do. First my hands were slipping on the lid,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't hold the jar. It was slipping in my hands. So I grabbed a towel to hold the jar, and then grabbed another, the other half the towel to hold the lid so my hands wouldn't slip. And I opened it, and I said, "Man, I can't wait to tell Dave that I can still do that."
You could still open a jar of pickles.
Hey, I'm telling you, or a jar of jam.
It's,
Any of those things are
yeah.
difficult. And then I said, "Isn't that interesting that occurred to me? Because sometimes the most difficult thing I have to open are those tiny little lids on plastic water bottles."
Well, those have gotten impossible.
I
Those have
am
gotten impossible to open.
I have twisted my hand in such a way that I just can't grip that little tiny lid and couldn't open it. And one time I was helping some folks. You remember at the senior center, you'd find me there one
Where
time when I was,
you used to work there, yeah.
yeah. The little old ladies could not open those bottles of water that order bottled water, and said, "Would you open it for me?" And it just occurred to me that that's one of them signs, you know, it's like a litmus test that creeps
Yeah.
up on you, and you think,
Yeah.
"Geez, I can't open this thing here." I have taken small bottles of water or other things. I forget what it was. I've used pliers on them. I opened that this morning, and I said to myself, "Well, you can still do that." So anyhow, you know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. It's probably
When I was up in Pittsburgh, I bought a quart bottle of I think they called it alkali water or something. It was at the Whole Foods, so it was priced at three times what it should have been. But anyway, it was a big bottle. I could not open the cap. I could not twist it open. I had my wife holding it, and two of us tried. Then I even had when my cycling buddy stopped in. I said, "See if you can open this." He couldn't open it. The two of us together could not open it. It was crazy. And I even had a knife. I was trying to cut part of the cap. I took it back to the store and I said, "If you can open this, I'll take it home." I said, "Otherwise, it's yours." And of course, she said, "Yeah, just go get another one." I don't know
oh,
what's going on here.
I don't know. I never ran into those problems when I was young, but I found it interesting this morning. I said, just occurred to me. I said, I'll mention that to you next time I saw you. So anyhow, that's how it. The opening gambit of the morning. Open
That
that
was
bottle.
opening gambit. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I succeeded. Jumped that hurdle, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Well, let's move on to the letters from afar here. We had a
Uh-huh.
couple notes on your air conditioning gambit.
Mm-hmm.
First one is some advice. It says the air conditioning works best when it runs almost continuously. Okay, bigger units cool faster, don't run as often, but they tend not to dehumidify the air as much as a continuously running unit. So and he also says I guess it's a he. It sounds like a air conditioning geek. And on extremely hot days, turn the fan on during peak hours, and your house will feel much more comfortable. There you go. So it's a help from listener from afar.
That sounds logical.
And now we got another note. Now I'm guessing this is a female. So glad to hear you all know the correct air conditioning temperature. And then a little smiley grinny face. So yeah, I would have been the female of the species.
Uh,
Oh man. So any exciting news
so
on your
you
air
want to
conditioning?
you want to know how I solved that issue?
Talk to me.
Now, I I did experiment with that, and I said, "Well, let's see what happens." And before I mean, I even saw the air conditioning man since then. I mean, he came in for another thing to check because
Oh,
I wanted to know I wanted to know from him firsthand what the temperature was, the air temperature was coming out of the air conditioner. It can't be 35 degrees. It can't be as cold as it in a refrigerator. I mean, you wouldn't be able to stand that. So it has to be somewhere around, let's say 50 to 65 or somewhere in there to cool the room, yet it won't freeze you.
yep.
So I've done some thoughts on this, but my immediate solution was sort of based on Captain Jim's suggestion. I just turned it down.
Just turn it down.
Well, if you turn it down and put it at 73, of course, it'll run a whole lot more in this 95-degree weather than, you
Mm-hmm.
know, than if it's up. So that worked I let that simmer for a couple of days and I got no complaints.
Uh-huh.
So then when the wife wasn't looking, I pushed it back up to 76.
Ah, and
And it went back to the same thing. You started to feel warm.
uh-huh.
So the reality is, the more it runs, the cooler you feel.
Let me write that down. That's it could be like the fourth law of thermodynamics or
Yeah, the
something.
more the air conditioning runs, the cooler it
The
feels.
cooler you feel. Okay.
Brilliant old
Oh,
buck
oh, yeah.
message
Oh,
there. So anyhow, that's how I ended it. Still have it set at 76 as we speak now, and it doesn't run quite as often. I think a lot of it has to do with outside air temperature and what the inside can maintain. If maybe your house is really insulated, it
yeah.
won't get too warm, and you can stretch it out a bit longer. Well, I'll know when the bill comes in. We'll see
You'll
if
know.
I
You'll
was
know.
right.
Yeah.
So thanks all the folks for writing in. That's kind of humorous. I appreciate that.
Of course, we came home to a broken water line outside. Did I tell you that?
You told me something about a plumber, but
Oh,
did that
yeah.
become expensive? Was that running while you were
Are you
gone?
kidding me? I had to get a plumber. tell, tell me if you think it got expensive or not. It
It
did.
got expensive.
It got expensive. Yeah.
That's right.
Jeez. Good guy, good plumber, different plumber than the one that fixed the same thing 18 months ago that which this guy had to replace because it cracked underground. So the other guy said, "Well, we have a 12-month warranty, so it's 18 months. So too bad."
Huh.
Yeah. Anyway, I have water in my house again, and they're going to give me a break on the overcharge because, of course, we're away while a lot of this water leak is happening. And
Oh,
yeah, and one of the neighbors spotted all the water on the road and said, "Hey, Dave, I think you got a problem." I asked him to turn the water off for me, which he did. That's the short version. It's now fixed, and I'm a little bit poorer.
well, old Buckdale said, you know what I predicted many episodes ago.
Go into a trade.
No, no water was going to be the issue. Too much or not enough.
Yep.
It was going to be some combination of that. You had too much water or not enough. And lately, with all the rain and everything, it's been quite a bit of water. The grass is growing crazy. The grass cutting people. I mean, there's like mowing hay out there now. So,
Well, here's something else I got out of that whole
hmm.
experience. Now I tried to clear the area before the plumber came and kind of do some shallow digging, clean up around the area because I knew where he was going to find it.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, I just counted. I got 22 mosquito bites. 22.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
so they like you.
They like me. Yeah. They like me a lot, apparently. He was the poor plumber, he was down in it. And he says, man, these mosquitoes are killing me. I say, yeah, I think so. They're killing me too. We got
Well,
through it.
fortunately, you didn't have to sit in the red ant pile. You
they,
know,
yeah, they, they were lurking
that would
at the
yeah, that's the
perimeter
double
there.
double whammy when you
They
have to
were,
dig through those
yeah,
guys first to
yeah.
get to the plumbing.
Oh
So,
man.
well,
Uh,
welcome to the real world. That's something all the old bucks, I guess, have to deal with is the plumbing issues as time goes by. And
yeah.
I mean that with a pun.
uh,
And they know what I'm talking
they
about.
know what.
Plumbing issues.
Yeah,
So that's
plumbing
good.
is okay. Hey,
You know,
last week, Captain Jim's great story about selling taxis in Belize. One of the subplots in the story was watching rats run across the restaurant floor in Belize. And of course, at the end of the podcast, at the end of the recording, I should say, and we all got into this big discussion about rats and rat stories. And unfortunately, or fortunately, I had to cut all of that out because it just made the episode run too long.
Hmm.
So, but I would like to share my rat story if you want to share your rat story.
Well, everybody probably has a mouse or a rat story. I'm thinking there's probably lots. Anybody out there, please send something in.
Send your rat
Tell us.
stories into us. Yeah.
You don't hear that too much on a podcast.
Yeah.
So anyhow, but tell us your story, Dave.
Okay. Well, my this is my quick rat story again. We were in I think Botswana doing a photograph safari kind of thing, and we were staying in our room here along the river. There's a mosquito net over the bed, big canopy mosquito net over the bed, and we had brought some things, some apples and things into the room, and then we went out and did our thing. He came back, and I found the apples all gnawed up. Okay, it's on the dresser. It's all chewed up. Two apples, and I look on the mosquito netting on the bed, and there's rat droppings up on top of the mosquito netting. So, damn. So I kind of got, I don't know, semi irate, and I went to see the kind of the manager guy, I guess. And I said, well, what's this going on? I said, stuff's all chewed up. I got rat turds. And he said, welcome to Africa. He says, look, they're here. They're everywhere. Okay. They're not going to bother you. They're not going to hurt you. Just get over it. It's like, okay, you're probably right.
That's what I would have said to you too. I said, you're on a safari, and if you're camping or if you're in one of those anywhere near wild game, that's that was just they were there. I mean, that's their territory. So,
Yep. Yeah.
and I had just to let our listeners know, I also spent some time in Botswana, but it wasn't on a safari. I was quite
I was
comfortable.
on a mission.
No, I was
I was on
quite
a mission,
comfortable.
a covert mission.
A nice, comfortable hotel room. Um, I have a rat story. Everybody has a story about those those animals, and I think probably they have a story about how they tried to correct it. Do you know what I mean? Maybe a trap.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a solution to that. Patch up the holes, move. I don't know what it may be. But there was one boy I knew many years ago when we were young. We roomed with a couple of fellows outside of Washington, D.C. And I came home and he was sitting on the couch in the living room. And from that position on the couch, you could see all the way to the back wall of the house, which is like a straight line, and it was through the kitchen. I said,
okay,
what are you messing with your shotgun for? He says, there's a rat in the house.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, I said, don't you think this could be problematic to be in the house? The wall, of course, being not that far away. I said, with a shotgun. I said, didn't you think that'd be a problem? He said, no, no, no. He said, he runs back along that wall, right along the edge down there.
Oh,
I can picture this to this day. He says, no, it
Oh,
runs right back and forth along the wall out there. He says, I'm going to shoot him. I said,
he's gonna go ahead.
that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this buckshot and all this stuff is going to go flying through the kitchen. Of course, he was the type of person that actually would do that. I was like, he probably would do that. It wouldn't matter what what the end result was against the wall. He said, no, he said, I've taken the shotgun shells and I've cut the ends off and dumped all the BBs out. So he basically he was going to shoot the little plastic container it's in there that kind of pushes them down the barrel.
The wadding kind of stuff.
Yeah, the wadding. Yeah.
Jeez.
So,
well, that's better anyway.
Yeah, well,
that's better.
Yeah, I gave my blessing to that attempt, and I left the house.
Left the house post haste. Oh gosh. So
I'm not sure. I think he might have scared him out. I don't think he ever did manage to hit him because it's a pretty narrow opening to fire fire a rat, and they don't hang around looking around. They just run back and forth. So that's the rat story I remember. Although I probably ran into lots of other ones that didn't bother me, and I didn't bother them. So carried on.
When I was a kid, my dad built a better mousetrap in the basement because we had mice in the basement. He got two metal plates, and I spaced them with one on top of the other with like a wood separating them,
Hmm.
and he put food on the top one, and he wired each plate to a terminal. Okay, so when if the mouse would be on the bottom plate and eating something on the top plate, he would complete the circuit. Never caught a mouse though. Never caught a mouse.
That's
We
an
lost,
ingenious design.
yeah, we lost 7 cats, but no, we didn't lose any cats.
So I'm picturing that in my head. If wood would be an insulator, so all you
Mm-hmm.
need is to make it small enough, and
You
then
make
put the cheese between the two metal plates. This is ingenious.
Mm-hmm.
Put the cheese on the lower plate between the two metal plates, but small enough that they would have to touch both the top and bottom, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
then plug one into the neutral and one into the
Mm-hmm.
power.
Yeah. Didn't work. It was a good
it,
idea, but
it didn't work. It would.
well, we never caught. He never caught any that way, or at least if he did, he didn't tell us. I guess we were sensitive kids. I guess.
Well, all you inventors out there you go.
There you go.
A very, very dangerous device, but probably, I don't know. Hope nobody actually tries this, but I can think I can see it actually working. So, hey, we were talking the other day. Let everybody know that we did have a chance to have coffee a couple days ago, and
We did.
that's always a fun time, just getting there and sitting down with everybody, whatnot, and all the stuff going on as we were having coffee. And you had what we call a bad service day. You remember?
I did have a bad service
Yeah,
day.
we were laughing. He says,
I turned to
it's just
buy.
one of those days. One of
He
those
says,
days where people
yeah.
just did not understand what you were trying to
Oh
say.
my God. So you're sitting at the table watching all this from a
Well,
distance.
yeah, well, I was watching it going on, but until you
So
came
I
up
mean, the
and told
girl,
me,
yeah,
then you filled me on the other part of
yeah.
your day. And
She
I
took
said,
she took my order and my money right away. All right. I just saw two coffees. And then I watched her, and she's putting these little price stickers all over her hands and up her arm. She's gonna price the cookies. All right. She's putting these price tags on the cookies, and I'm
while you're
watching her.
standing there,
Well,
right?
I'm standing. I'm thinking,
Mhm.
here I am. You already took my money, and I'm standing here watching you tag all the cookies with prices. What's wrong with this picture?
Well, we should
And
point out that the order was for a small black cold brew
yeah.
and a cold brew with a touch of cream.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm laughing
Because we got
you'd have to
two
be there.
two
Yeah.
cold brews with a lot of cream.
So yeah, you brought this over and says, try this. And I said, what is it? Is it it's a cup of cream with a
Yeah.
dab
There's
of
a little bit of
coffee.
coffee in there.
I said,
But I totally
didn't you
rejected
understand
mine.
it?
I said,
And you said,
yeah.
hey, and then you went on to tell me about your bad day of trying to explain something to someone in the bank, and they just could not understand it.
Oh, I don't even
And,
want to talk about that one.
well, and then I could picture you. When that happens, sometimes you look around for.
Pictured my tongue bleeding from me
Yeah,
biting it.
I mean, you look around and like, does anybody else see what I'm doing here? Can anybody see this is not working? Won't somebody step up and explain
Yeah.
to the lady what I'm asking her to do or what I want to do? And nobody does, because you're just you and the person you're
Well,
trying
there's
to talk
nobody,
to.
right?
Yeah, there's nobody to do that. And so, and then listen, folks, we're sitting together, and he says, look, Dell, he said, this is all I wanted to do. He said, I even have it written down.
I even had it written down. I said,
I have it written down.
All right,
I'll
I'll talk about it a little bit. I don't want to come down too hard on the woman. She was, I said, I want this much foreign currency and these currencies here. And she's looking on her screen. So, I don't know. And then she says, well, there's two currencies in Korea. And I said, there's nowhere does it say Korea. I never said Korea. Anyway, we got it sorted out. And yesterday they called me and said, your money's ready. So she was busy actually, for better or for worse. So there were two tellers, and the other girl said, I'll take care of you. And they went into this long thing where two of them had to go into the back room together to unlock the back room to bring out this envelope with my money in it, which like, oh man.
Which is, apparently wasn't a lot of cash, or no, just
No,
enough to
no,
get you
no.
through the airport or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah. And the girl says, I'll need your bank card and your driver's license. Sure. I put them on the counter there. She sneezes twice into her hand, and I'd fixed my cards up with that hand immediately following that. I'm thinking, oh man, this is not my bank. I don't know. But we got through it. And
Yeah.
actually I had a nice conversation with the first woman afterwards. Turns out she's going to Peru in a couple weeks. So yeah, we kind of kissed and made up and everything was good.
Well, the picture I think I want to leave with the with our audience, or with the folks who listen to the old Bucks, was here's a couple old friends sitting there talking, and it was beneficial to be able to do that on a day
Yeah.
when nobody's helping you or nobody's listening to you. At least you have a
You had
friend there
one
who
person that
can
would listen
explain
to
it
you.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody should be so lucky.
Oh
So,
gosh. Yeah.
hey, Dave, something I've been waiting to tell you about. You mentioned you're reading a new book
Yeah.
by
Amor Towles, Table for Two.
Table for Two. Now I know you're further along in that than I am, but I just picked up a sample of it. I downloaded a sample. I often do that before I invest because I think it's a pretty good sized book. But I got to admit that I really had and the sample, of course, is very shortened.
It's a
You know what I
sample.
mean? Yeah, it does not have all the color that goes with it. But I got to admit that I was really, really, really engrossed. In fact, I forgot about time as I was reading just a sample. So, if anybody else out there has an inclination to read that book and wants to comment on it or send something, I think it's going to be a great story, and I'm looking forward to getting the full copy of it. And then when I do, or yeah, when I do and get a chance to catch up, we'll do a complete
Okay.
review of that. But
That's a deal.
I think it's gonna be a great story. It was definitely funny. What an imagination that man has. So,
Yeah, he's a teller of kind of modern day fables.
mhm.
It's fun to read. It's fun to think about. It's you can put yourself there. You can see yourself there. So yeah, it's basically there. It's a collection of kind of long short stories plus one novella. Most of the stories take place in New York or L.A. Of course, it starts in Russia. So yeah, we'll talk about it again. But yeah, so far so good.
So
Absolutely.
far so good. So heads up, everybody. The old Bucks are on the trail.
Yeah,
Hey, Dave, listen. I happen to have a excerpt in front of me. If you got a second, let me
I
let me
do
read
have a
this to you.
second. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, this is it's not very far into the story, but it says, and it goes, when God the Father is smiling on a nation, when average incomes are on the rise, food is plentiful, and soldiers are biding their time with their card games in their barracks, nothing seems worthier of yeah, condensation than a discussion of the weather. At dinner parties and afternoon teas, those who routinely turn to the topic are deemed boring, even insufferable. The possibility of precipitation seems worthy as a topic only to those without the imagination or intelligence to speak of the latest literature, the cinema, and the international situation, or in short, the times. When a society is in turmoil, a discussion of the weather doesn't seem quite so unwelcome.
Oh boy, isn't that timely
Isn't
advice?
that timely? I said to myself, I said, how timely is that? So you can always talk about the weather when all else fails, if any
When
other
all
subject
else
is too
fails, yeah.
sensitive to bring up. So there you go.
Good advice. Yeah, that's just one little snippet from that book. There's
Yeah.
lots of wisdom in that book. Going to looking at the sports world here for a minute. I'm a big cycling fan, and
Oh,
well, we're kind of halfway through the Tour de France now. It's been a fun tour to watch so far. The two favorites are duking it out. So the two main contenders are Toddy Pogačar of Slovenia and Jonas Vingegaard of Denmark. Jonas won the last two tours, and Toddy won the two before that, and they've always come in first or second to each other, it seems. And they're pretty much head and shoulders above just about everybody else there. Although there's a Belgian guy that's looking good. Stage 9 had 30 kilometers of gravel over 14 patches on a 200-kilometer course. So that was something new and different. That was fun to watch. And yesterday, stage 11, this being Thursday, of course, an amazing finish. Pogačar attacked on the mountain with there were about 32 kilometers to go, and he opened up like a 40-second lead over Vingegaard. And everybody's saying, okay, it's over now. The tour's over. He slowly clawed his way back. I mean, it was unbelievable. Over the next several kilometers, he clawed his way back, and they were riding head to head for a while. And there was a sprint at the finish, and he won by a few inches. So it was just an amazing stage.
Wow. In other words, with 32 kilometers left in the race, he was able to get out back with overcome a 40-second deficit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and he caught him. It was probably maybe 10 kilometers to go when he caught him, and then they played cat and mouse for the rest of the race. And it was
imagine the energy that would take.
Oh, it's unbelievable what these guys what they put out. An incredible number of watts. There's really nothing like it for that many watts. Anyway, so I'm going to get down in the cycling rabbit hole here, so I won't go too much more about that.
Well,
but
when is that over? How many races?
It's 21 stages over 21 stages. That's like 2,200 miles.
And it's only on stage 12.
It's on stage 12 today. Yeah. It was a flat stage today. This was the day for the sprinters. It was fun to watch. The guy he's the top sprinter this year. It's his first tour. He's an Eritrean, Biniam Girmay, new to the tour. He's kicking butt on the sprints. It's great to see a new rider experiencing it.
So does the trophy go to the person who wins the most of these sections, or these?
Well, there's different trophies. There's the GC, the general classification. That's the rider who finishes it in the shortest total time. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then there's an award for the top sprinter. You get sprint points for crossing the line first. Mm-hmm. There's another jersey for the best climber, king of the mountain, and then there's a jersey for the best young rider. That's a rider I think under 24 or something like that, under 23. And then they have team awards also.
They have an award for riders over 75.
Yeah, it's called the cemetery, I guess.
That race is still going on.
Probably
the leg of that is still running.
Probably the oldest rider there is probably 36 or 38. That's really old for somebody in that sport. Yeah.
You're going on assignment?
I am going on assignment. Yes, next week, if all goes well, I will be interviewing some women in France. If you recall, a year ago, we interviewed a French woman who is teaching French to Ukrainian refugees in her town, and we also talked to a couple of the refugees. Actually, Eurobuck Paul did the interview for us because I was sick as a dog when I was over there. We're going over to Europe, so I won't be in France, but we'll be in the same time zone. So hopefully we're going to work that out and interview them and see what their worlds are like 1 year later. So looking forward to that. Aiming for that to be our episode next week. We'll see how it works out.
And I will be holding down the fort and enjoying the trip as the reports come in, along with everyone else. So I look forward to that. I wish you a safe journey.
Well, thank you. And on that note,
this is Old Buck Dale saying thank you for listening, folks. Enjoy doing this. Talk to you next time.
Old Buck Dave saying the same thing. It's been fun. Talk to you next time, folks.